Hello, be very welcome to the channel. If you like science, health, human mind, and want to understand more about how all this connects, you already subscribe down here and leave your like because today's video is a must-see. Let's go for a real trip inside your genetic code. Have you ever wondered why some people seem more likely to anxiety, depression, or even intense creativity, while others are naturally calmer, rational, or resilient? Is it all the result only of the environment in which we live? Or is the answer, at least in part, in our DNA? Today, we will explore how our genes can directly influence our mental health, and why understanding this can change the way we see the human mind, and even how we take care of it. Let's start from the beginning. DNA is like an instruction manual that our body carries in each cell. In it is written the information that says how your body works, including the brain. And that's where the key point comes in. The brain, despite being an extremely moldable organ, is also shaped by genetic information inherited from your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. For example, research shows that people with a family history of depression or schizophrenia have a significantly greater probability of developing these conditions. But that does not mean that it is written in stone. DNA is not a sentence. It is a set of possibilities. Think of it as a card game. You inherit a genetic set, but how these cards will be played? It depends on many factors. One of the main factors is genes associated with regulation of neurotransmitters, such as serotonin and dopamine, substances that directly influence mood, pleasure, motivation. A very studied gene in this field is 5-HTTLPR, related to serotonin transport. People with a specific variation of this gene have a greater tendency to anxiety and depression when exposed to stress situations, for example. That is, the gene alone does not cause the problem, but it increases sensitivity to the environment. And here comes a fundamental concept: epigenetics. Epigenetics is like a switch that turns on or off genes throughout life. This means that experiences such as trauma, food, sleep, affective bonds, and even stress level can activate or disable certain genes related to mental health. It's as if DNA were the hardware, and the lifestyle were the software that runs the operation of this system. Therefore, two people with the same genetic predisposition to depression can have completely different lives. One can live without major emotional difficulties, while the other develops severe paintings. The difference is in the environment and in the triggers. And don't stop there. More recent research is finding genetic associations with bipolar disorder, ADHD, autism, and even risk behaviors. But the most curious thing is that some of these same genes are also related to creativity, outside the box, and greater empathy. That is, what we call disorder in one context can be an evolutionary advantage in another. The line between genius and chaos is sometimes much thinner than we think. And all this raises a deep question. If it starts from our mental health, comes from our DNA, to what extent do we have control over who are we? The answer is surprisingly positive. Neuroscience shows that the brain is plastic. That is, it changes, learns, adapts. Genetics can dictate the starting point, but it does not determine fate. Practices such as meditation, physical activity, therapy, contact with nature, and good social connections, they have the power to modulate the expression of our genes over time. This means that taking care of mental health is also a way to dialogue with your DNA. What's more, by taking care of your mind, you can change the way these genes express themselves in your children and grandchildren. Yes, epigenetics can also be transmitted. The impact of your life today can cross generations. So the next time you hear someone say, "This is family," remember, yeah, but it's not everything. Genetics is an outline. Your life is the final art. If this video made you think, if you brought some new insight or inspired you in some way, comment here below. I want to know your opinion, your experience, or even your question. And of course, you subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and consider becoming a member to support our work and have access to exclusive content. The human mind is a universe, and we are just beginning to explore it. Until next time.